Nollywood is one of the most phenomenal things that have happened. Nigeria is among the top three in the world globally when it comes to film production. If you look at Hollywood and Bollywood, they have a ton of support from the government. But Nollywood is an industry that has grown organically.
You see, at a time,
Yes.
when you hear of Alaba, people think of piracy. Some actually argue that if not for that piracy, most of those CDs will not leave the shores of Nigeria. That piracy has actually helped in distributing this production across or beyond Alaba as a market to other places like Ghana and the rest of it. Do you actually say in that sentiment?
That is actually not true. And the person that is saying that is not in the industry. Piracy actually has a disadvantage. Yes, it is true that there was a lot of piracy in the Alaba that we were talking about, because marketers used to really underprice films because of piracy. Because they are looking at, before I sell, how many copies am I going to sell before pirates take over from me? So imagine if we did not have that piracy. Marketers will still be able to promote the product, the films, but that will increase the margins for the filmmakers.
From the bustling stores of Alaba International Market, now to the big stage of Nollywood and Afrobeats. Now, there's a particular story that has not been told in the right proportion, and that is how this informal sector laid the foundation for this great empire of Nollywood, of Afrobeats, and of tech. Now, today the conversation will be from Alaba to the world, how Alaba has affected the world positively. I have somebody that will be in that conversation with me. He's somebody that is a tech enthusiast. He has followed this trajectory of entertainment from where they were and where they are today. Now we're having that conversation today from Alaba to the world. And my name is Providence, please don't forget. And I'm your host. Please help me welcome Mr. Ekandem. Welcome to Clockwise.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
I don't know, you have that childhood memory where we used to have, it's 1/3 road, Aba. Is it what Iweka Road on Onitsha?
51 Iweka Road
on Onitsha. And which other one again?
Number 9, Ebeboji Lane, Lagos.
Now, those are things that you hear in Nollywood blockbuster movie, right?
Yes.
So say Nollywood this, Nollywood that. How? I want you to look at this movement, this trajectory. How Alaba and all those, how did they lay this foundation for this tech, entertainment, and Afrobeats greatness that they are seeing today?
Okay, thank you very much for having me once again. So, Nollywood is one of the most phenomenal things that have happened. Nigeria is among the top three in the world globally when it comes to film production. I mean, think about it. How many other things can you look at Nigeria among the top three? Nigeria is either between either the second largest or the third largest. So we move between the second largest and the third largest. So it's Hollywood, Bollywood, and Nollywood.
Yeah.
But there's something I want to speak about which shows you the resilient spirit of the Nigerian people when it comes to the film industry. If you look at Hollywood and Bollywood, they have a ton of support from the government. But Nollywood is an industry that has grown organically.
Okay.
And I mean organically. There is no record of direct government intervention. We've had a couple of programs in the past where the government does funding some intervention, but of course we know that those monies actually never get to the real producers.
No, we cannot debate that for now.
We cannot debate that enough for now, but the reality is this, that it's actually been a self-funded thing. And going back to Alaba, I want to say that Nigerians have demonstrated resilience. They have demonstrated entrepreneurship. Because it takes an entrepreneur to be able to grow, bootstrap, and grow organically to build such an industry. If you look at Alaba, when film started, if you look at the first Nollywood film, like Living in Bondage, you had Kenneth Nebwe did the production, and this was something that was literally self-funded.
Yeah.
Most of the film actors at the time, a lot of those actors were not even paid. That's just the reality. But they kept on going.
Yeah.
So that tells you, and then from there we now had the, like you mentioned, Alaba, the Iweka Road, the Pound Road. Okay, so those places are actually distribution, where the films are distributed and marketed. So because Nollywood did not have a place where you say this is an office, so we basically really talk about where they are being marketed. Because the way it used to work was marketers will be the one to really push for these productions. Yeah. We didn't have a cinema at the time, so there was no structure that you could say, okay, if I produce my film, I'm going to be able to do what to make money from the cinema. So if you think about money, if you think about marketing for your business, for your films, so you'll be thinking about having a relationship with marketers who will help to push the films.
But there's something about Alaba that I want you to actually look at. You see, at a time,
yes,
when you hear of Alaba, people think of piracy. So I'm actually argue that if not for that piracy, most of those CDs will not leave the shores of Nigeria. That piracy has actually helped in distributing this production across or beyond Alaba as a market to other places, to like Ghana and the rest of it. Do you actually share in that sentiment?
That is actually not true. And the person that is saying that is not in the industry. Piracy actually has a disadvantage. Yes, it is true that there was a lot of piracy in the Alaba that we were talking about, because think about it. If you, let me use you as an example. Let's say you bring in 4 million naira, produce a film, and then you produce a film hoping to maybe, a marketer would buy it from you maybe about 6-8 million. If you now look at the cost you use to pay actors, get locations, get your crew, get equipment and all those things, then everything, maybe that's 4 million naira. Then what are you left with? 2 million. Let's say you actually borrowed that money. What you are literally left with is 2 million. Yeah. So marketers used to really underprice films because of piracy. Because they are looking at, before I sell, how many copies am I going to sell before pirates take over from me? So imagine if we did not have that piracy. Marketers will still be able to promote the product, the films, but that will increase the margins for the filmmakers. That was why filmmaking, today, filmmaking today is
a big business.
It's an entirely different thing from what it was in those days. Actors were very poorly paid, because if I know how much, I'm not going to make so much, so why am I going to pay the actors? So piracy in itself was a very terrible thing.
So
you will talk about... So it's actually not piracy that actually helped it. There's a difference between piracy and promotion. Promotion is a marketer comes to you, tells you about, gives you like I told you, some money, say go and produce a film, and then he promotes, uses legal and regulated lines or channels to promote the film, whether within Nigeria or outside Nigeria, and then sell the film to make money. Make money for the producer, make money for the actors. So the point there is, I understand the issue around distribution network. It is not, marketers are supposed to have a wider distribution network to avoid piracy. Because when people are hearing about a film in Lagos, and then let's use an example, let's say in Port Harcourt, that film is not there. There is a chance that people will pick a copy of that film and pirate so that they can sell in Port Harcourt to make money. But that has undercut, that has deprived the producers, the actors, and the crew the value of what they have produced. So let us not try to say that piracy helped to promote. No. Piracy...
But most of the CDs we had then were pirated copies.
That's because
if the distributors were majorly in Alaba, for instance,
yes,
most of the CDs we had in different places then were just pirated copies. And what I'm trying to say is that, okay, beyond the negativity of piracy, which we don't support, now piracy has actually helped in promoting these people, because those CDs would have ended up only in Alaba. But they came to let's say places like Ogun State and the rest of the areas, and even moved to Ghana, Sierra Leone, and the rest through piracy.
What I'm saying is that marketers should be able to extend. For example, you look at Idomata in Lagos. We had a major film distribution network there. You had in Onitsha 51 and 52 Iweka Road, Onitsha. So then 1/2 pound roundabout, that was able to cover for the south. Then Iweka Road Onitsha, southwest. No, sorry, southeast. Then Idumota, southwest. It is because of this piracy that marketers were not so deliberate about promotion. Because if you put in, let's say you have you put in already 4 million or 8 million to buy the film, and then you put in another 2 million to promote. That means you must make above 10 million. And if that is not guaranteed because of piracy, then marketers don't have any incentive to push their distribution network. So I would say that I don't think that piracy had helped. I think piracy, while it got the films to male hands, but at the end of the day, it deprived the actors. That's even why, if you look at the Nigerian film industry, the quality of films that we are doing is not as good as. I mean, it's better now because we have a lot of people. I don't want to mention names that have actually redefined Nollywood today. But if you look at the pace was slow because people were not very confident. Investors were not very confident in investing in the film industry because of piracy. So if you look at it from any angle you look at it, piracy actually hurt the Nigerian film industry. And it's the reason why the Nigerian film industry has not gotten to where it would have been.
More than where it is now?
Yes.
But I think we are just in a very good position now.
So we are in a very good position, but we would have been better. The reality is, in terms of volume of production per year, Nigeria literally towers above everyone else. But in terms of the quality of production, Nigeria, a lot of Nollywood films have been watched in other countries in the West and all that. But the quality of production, the average film in Nigerian film is still a low budget film.
What do you mean by a low budget?
Low budget film, meaning that people really don't commit so much into. That's why you would see a film, for example, producers want to shoot a film in 3 days or 5 days. You and I know that
there's technology now.
It's not just about. So that technology does not exist in the West. That they take months and even years to produce.
That depends on the storyline.
No, it's not about storyline. It's about you not being able to interpret the story the way it should be done because you're trying to cut corners. For example, there are some things that you would see. There are some details that we deliberately ignore in the Nigerian film industry because we don't have the time to shoot. There are some stories that are told halfway because nobody wants to invest 1 month on set. That's the reality. Though it goes beyond even the storytelling, the quality of cast that you pick. A lot of people pick, they go for actors that are not professionals. And the reason is because if you want to have a professional actor, you have to pay them very well. So people will pick someone that doesn't even have, sometimes they don't even have experience. They're even coming to set to learn on the job. No, it's not done that way. The film industry is a place where you come to demonstrate your acting skills, not a place where you come to learn acting. So the reality is, if we had more investments in the film industry, we'll be able to afford a better cast, even our crew, equipment. How many people really shoot with equipment that are of Netflix standard? Netflix, you have to shoot.
So we have some movies that are on Netflix.
So that's the fact. So we have some movies. So you see that if you look at the ratio.
In America, all their movies are not on Netflix.
Obviously, but if you look at some of their films are not on Netflix, they are on Amazon Prime. If they are not on Amazon, they are on streaming services because the quality is better. Let me tell you something about Netflix. There's a minimum camera quality you need to use for Netflix. There are a lot of things, lighting and all those things, sound and all of those things. Many Nigerian films don't meet that quality. That's why Netflix will always reject a bunch of those productions. So, but we would have gotten a greater share. And now you know that Netflix is literally pulling out of Nigeria.
Yes.
Okay, so why are they doing that? Is it because there is no market here? That's not true. But it's because the quality does not really galvanize the kind of patronage, attention that they really want. Cinemas are closing down in many places because the quality of production is not. So the reality
is it the fault of Nollywood, or is it the fault of government?
No. So I like I told you when we started, I said Nollywood has been a film industry that has grown organically. if you want to rely on if the Nollywood producers were waiting on the government, by now we would have been. I mean, if you'll agree with me that the Nigerian film industry is like the best in Africa. Other people in other countries. I mean, there's this guy from Sierra Leone that came to act a production done by Uche Nambunabo. The guy went back home. Well, yeah, his name is Peter Komba. I'm sorry to mention the name though, but he went back home and he was celebrated like a king, simply because of being in a Nigerian film. So that shows you that Nollywood is actually an envy for other African countries. But I'm saying that we would have gotten to a higher level if we had government investments and also we had investors come into the film industry. Let me tell you something.
But don't you think that the government invests in Nollywood to affect the type of stories that will be actually churned out?
What do you mean by that?
The government should invest in Nollywood.
No. So you think that the government will control the narrative? It's a matter of building the creative industry. So you don't have to detect what kind of production that should be done. In the US, they have a very good support from the government. So support here might not be. I know for you might think support will be handing over cash. No, there are a lot of things. If you want to produce a film now, that is the amount of money you pay to even get places. How many film villages do we have in this country? How many standard film villages do we have in this country? So that also adds to the cost of production. There are some scenes that you would want to portray, but you can't do that because the cost of getting those things together is very, very difficult. But if you had a film village, it would have been a case of just going there, rent maybe for the days you need to shoot that particular scene and do it. So we don't have that infrastructure. Where government could come in is not just to give people money cash, but to provide the infrastructure, ensure that things like film villages are available, or even if it's a public-private partnership, to create film villages, so that if someone wants to shoot, the producer wants to shoot a film, the headache of having to get props, get a good set to depict the scene he or she wants to create will be taken off the producer. He would have to worry about cast and all of those other things. So investment by government is very integral to growing Nollywood. That's number one. Number two, even private investors.
They are not investing.
I've actually been. I have a company that produces films, Izora. So it's very difficult for you to attract investment. I'm telling you, it's very difficult for you to attract investment. Nowadays, it's even a little bit better because, YouTube, people are making money from YouTube and all of those things. But before now, it was very difficult. The headwinds were too much. Piracy, like we mentioned earlier, and general lack of people who talk about a film today, tomorrow it's all. So, and sometimes if you go to the cinema will get a very big cut from whatever you make from the film. Sometimes they even get a higher percentage in the first few weeks of the film hitting the cinema. And you know that those first few weeks are when the bulk of the money comes in. So when an investor cannot see how he will get his money back, then he feels very reluctant in investing in that industry. So if we can create an enabling environment to allow private investors to come into the film industry and invest, government coming in to provide infrastructural support in terms of film villages and access to equipment, it will help the Nollywood industry to grow. It will help to catapult the entrepreneurship, the excellent entrepreneurship in the Nollywood industry. Think about it. Can you imagine that we have grown this far without any support at all? Imagine where we would have been if we had that support.
Now, for you not to leave what we actually want to discuss, and that was Alaba.
Okay.
Now, Alaba in the early 2000s was not just about film any longer and Afrobeats. Now we started having things like gadgets and computers that were sold there and those kind of stuff. We can actually say that Alaba was also a great pivot for the tech boom in Nigeria. Because most of those gadgets, most of the early days computers, early days phones and the rest of it came through Alaba. I don't know, what place can you say Alaba had or Alaba have now in the tech industry?
So I talked about the spirit of entrepreneurship. That is the biggest driving factor for what you see in Nigeria today. Okay, so whenever you have a place where access to devices, access to technology, let me use that word. So you have technology available, infrastructure available, talent available. Those three things will always build a revolution. That's why Lagos till today remains one of the most technologically advanced cities, not just in Nigeria, but in Africa. Because, I mean, if you look at some of the biggest tech startup, you look at Paystack, you look at MoneyPoint, these companies, MoneyPoint, by the way, is a unicorn. Paystack was bought over by Stripe for $200 million. You can be sure it's more valuable than that at this point. But that tells you that that entrepreneurship was built by the spirit, that Alaba spirit, that hustling spirit. I use the word hustling.
Yeah.
That spirit, that can-do spirit, where people try to unpack what is this technology? How can we make it to benefit the average person? So that actually built that entrepreneurship, and that translated into tech.
Yeah.
You have the Andelas. I mean, Andela is one of the biggest places when you talk about tech hubs. Andela, I mean, we saw some years ago, Mark Zuckerberg came to Nigeria. He went to Andela. I mean, those guys are literally exporting talents, tech talents. So that provides an ecosystem, a driver for technological revolution. And that is why you cannot remove Alaba. You cannot remove that entrepreneurship spirit. When you talk about Alaba, the next thing is Alaba is synonymous to entrepreneurship. So as far as you consider Alaba as the root of all of this, you are literally talking about entrepreneurship as the source of the revolution that we've had today in tech in Nigeria.
So now, what will be the story for other sectors who got their foundation through informal sectors like Alaba? I think Alaba is an abandoned place today.
It's not an abandoned place.
But the attention is not as it was in those days.
Okay.
Because of the access to technology and the rest of it. Now, so what would be your advice to other sectors, like other, informal sectors that are actually holding these big giants? Example is even the POS that we have now and the rest of it. What would be your advice? What do you say about those informal sectors?
Let me start from somewhere. I mean, and I'll still talk a little bit. I'll still bear a little bit on the film industry. Asaba is also the crux of the film industry too. And unfortunately, people now say, look at this Asaba film or Asaba actor. But Asaba is where all of these actors, all the celebrated actors today came from. So Alaba shows that saying that do not despise the days of your little beginning. It is not having that attention today anymore because a lot of things have been decentralized. Like I told you, if you talk about tech, a lot of other places have sprung up. You have tech industries all over the place, tech hubs all over the place. The way tech works now is it's not geographically sensitive. So you don't need to be in Lagos to be successful as a tech person. Yeah. I remember when I got into tech, I did a program. I got into tech through a scholarship program done by, I think, Google at the time, Google Audacity program. That's how I got into tech, into mobile and web development. And I would tell you that at that time, you have to, once you are done, you go to Lagos. Because as far as we're concerned, there was no opportunity anywhere else apart from Lagos. But today, you can literally sit in your home and have an opportunity working in UK, working in Canada, working outside the country. So that is the reason why that Alaba is no longer, because, I mean, if people are not like coming in to find as, people are not seeing Alaba as their only source of dependence as a tech person, then it's not a place that you can say it's such a big deal anymore. Look at San Francisco, look at California. California was a place, Silicon Valley was a place where if you have, I mean, all the companies you can think, all the tech companies you can think of, a lot of them, like I can say more than 90% or 80% of them actually had their roots in Silicon Valley. But today, I mean,
Alaba was like our Silicon
like our Silicon Valley. But today, the place is so expensive. And because people can work remotely, the incentive to stick around Silicon Valley is not there. The same thing applies here. You can literally work from anywhere. A lot of people I know
buy from anywhere.
You can buy from anywhere, work from anywhere. You can actually be in Akwa Ibom State. You can be in Port Harcourt. You can be in Cross River State. You can even be in Borno State and still be working for a company in Lagos remotely. So that possibility makes it not entirely necessary for you to think about going to Alaba to be able to make a career in tech. So I think that is the reason why Alaba is no longer the in thing. But the fact still remains that was the crux. That was the starting point where most of the technologies that you have today came from. So the point there is about entrepreneurship. It's about access to devices, access to technology, and the ability to really innovate.
What about the actors now? You were actually making an insinuation that Nollywood is not as, let's say, excellent as it used to be before when it comes to production, storylines, and the rest of it. Why would you say that? Because I feel that our actors are being rated now more than before.
Okay, so here is the deal. So when you talk about actors, you compare actors of today and actors. The reality is we are not just looking at some of those best, the very quality productions. Nowadays, very sadly, and I'm going to say this, there is no way you are going to call people together and shoot a film for 3 days and you expect the quality to be the same as a production that was done for 6 months. Because a lot of things will have to be hurried. I have been to a couple of sets where an actor has not taken his lines well. The director says, let's go, next one, next scene. That could not happen in time past. Yeah. You have to take that particular, you can take up to 20 takes. Do up to 20 takes until you get it. That was how thorough productions were. That's why even up until today, you see a number of people still going back to those old films. Nowadays, let's be honest to ourselves, the story has been around love, and all those things. Before now, we used to have stories, things that depict our culture. And the thing about film industry, like I told you, is a cultural thing. It depicts the culture of people. I remember in 2013, I had something to do in, Congo? I saw a signboard that said, Igwe. Igwe is an Igbo word, Abi. Yeah. But they said Igwe over there because we had successfully exported our culture. So film is not just for entertainment, it's also a means of export. You can export your culture to other people. That's why if you look at the most popular culture in Nigeria is actually Igbo. Because Igbos have successfully made the film industry to be about Igbos. Some of the most successful actors in Nollywood are Igbos. The storylines you will have, if you go to a class, even if in the north, even if in the west, and ask somebody, or maybe a child, who is the traditional leader of a community, the answer will be Igwe. Because they have successfully pushed the brand and they have successfully made their culture to be, widespread. So for me, films in the past actually depicted our culture more than what we have today. So the quality was good, the storyline was good. The actors were not just people that, today it's very ridiculously, someone could even be given a role in the film just because he or she has a car and want to use her car for that production. I'm telling you the reality. Someone will be given a role just because they have a car or because they have a house. You say, I think I should be part of it. They will come in. It wouldn't happen at the time. It was you had to have that skill before you can be given a role. I know of a number of people that actually at the time, look at the likes of P. Diduchi, Kanayo, and you can name them. These guys came from NTA. These guys, and NTA was very thorough about selection of cast. That's why till today, these guys are still, they eat it for breakfast. So it tells you the quality of cast that we used to have at the time. It's only unfortunate that because of piracy, these people at that time never saw the potential of the industry because of the terrible margins that they're working with.
They wouldn't have seen.
Yes, but today, I mean, it's almost like an all-commerce affair. Even with YouTube now. Before now, we used to have the National Film and Video Censors Board. So if you produce a film, you don't just produce a film and market it. You produce a film, and the Censors Board has to look at it to be sure that it meets the quality before it's pushed. Nowadays, with YouTube, produce a film, no matter the quality, just put it on YouTube, and that goes. That access, the access to the market being democratized is good, but the downside to it is that it introduces all the gibberish you can think about. So, I mean, if you look at the film industry today, it's nostalgic. You think about the film industry in the past, when considered today, it's very nostalgic.
Now, there was a time they had this fracas between the old Nollywood and the new Nollywood.
Yeah.
Maybe because of the cast and the actors and the rest of it. Now, as someone that had followed this journey from the beginning, what is your expectation? What do you hope to see in the Nollywood in the future?
Okay, so here is the deal. Old and new cast. I think it should be a case of old cast, or the people you call old, being mentors to the new people that are coming in. Let me give you an example. Someone like Peter Ritchie, you'll agree with me that is a legend. Someone like Nkemowo, these are legends. So I'm thinking that the actors of today should be more interested in learning from those people, learning from those legends. That's why today, you see, let me tell you what's happening. Someone will show up today, maybe 2-3 months is in every production, and then boom, you don't see him anymore. That's because maybe the guy has a fine face, he has a nice body, he talks well, and all those things, and it's off because it's more like a popularity thing. But film actors are supposed to be enduring because they are able to interpret any role you give to them. It's not just about love, 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 love. I remember those days when we used to have Africa Movie Academy Awards that actually rated people based on, you know what has killed it? I don't need to mention any brand, but you know what has actually killed the award? So they used to look at, before you can be said to be a good actor, you must be able to act several roles. You have someone that can act like a good girl, a bad girl, a poor girl, a rich girl, several roles together. That was what defined a good actor. And so when you look at this from that point, you realize that if you had these people that were able to be so flexible and nimble in their acting, that is raw, that is talent. And the Nollywood actors of today, people are coming into the industry, should prioritize learning from the people that were in the industry before them, and also upskilling themselves. They talk about there's something they talk about harassment in the industry. The reality is that if you are good, I would say if you are good in your craft, harassment would not be your case. Because when they talk about, let me tell you, there was a day I went to Asaba. Like I told you, I have a company that's into film production, and so I as the person that is providing the funding, you are literally like the executive producer. So I went there, and the first thing that they told me is that you have to stay. You don't have to introduce yourself as an executive producer. That if you do that, most of the will even want to come and seduce you and all those. So where is the harassment coming from? It's not even coming from the. It's not from the producer or executive producer to the actors. It's now the actors that are literally harassing the executive producer. So you now realize that. And why are they doing this? Because they want a role in the next production. They want a role in the next production. So, but if you are good, you don't need to use means to get yourself a role. By the time you are in a role and you do a good job, it will be referrals. People say, okay, for this role, I think this lady can do a very good job. I think this guy should be the one for the role. So that is the value of learning. But that's the value of learning from mentors, from people that have been in the industry before you. Understand how these people saw the most terrible part of Nollywood. The most terrible part of Nollywood. They had to stay in very risky environments. Today, everything is done. It's almost like a sitcom. Everything is done in one house. But these are guys that used to travel from interior places, unsafe places, and spend months just to shoot a film.
That was passion.
That's passion. And not just passion, but skill and commitment.
But the passion they did not pay.
Because of piracy.
Just piracy.
No, listen, because of I know you are going to say
It is easier to produce a movie now than then. I can just carry
because that's the point.
Camera and I put on my YouTube page.
That's exactly what we are talking about. Do you know why? Because today, if you pick two people and they shout and argue against each other, that's a film.
Yeah, that's content.
But that's content.
Okay.
So, but before now,
into content.
Okay. So you see, it's now more of like content creation. But in time past, people sat down and conceived production.
Yeah.
They did ensure that everything, the story, wrote script, sit down, rehearse those scripts, make input, refine those scripts before they hit the camera. A camera comes in, people are not in a hurry to churn out the production. They ensure that they do a thorough job. That was how production was done.
But this current set of actors are well paid. They are more. They earn more than
because the market. At that time, it was marketers that controlled. If a marketer say you're not going to make money, you're not going to make money, no matter how good you are. It's just a reality. If the marketers say you're not making money, you're not making money.
So today's influencers.
And they were the only avenue through which you can sell your production.
But no, I can be an influencer.
But today, a guy can sit down in his house and be an influencer.
They'll invite him to come and say.
The guy can sit down, produce a film, and post it on YouTube and make a ton of money. No marketer is going to get a cut. No lawyer.
No censor.
No censor. Okay.
Him alone.
So he makes the money alone. And that's why you say everybody now now has a TV. So that's the reality. It's not something we should.
So we say that technology has done badly because technology costs all these things.
No, technology has not done bad. I think it is regulation. There's no there's
regulate the internet.
No. So here is the deal. Before it gets to the internet, it is done somewhere. So first of all, there is need for. I mean, nowadays we don't even this Actors Guild of Nigeria.
You don't even know the number of movies
people are not even concerned about being part of the Actors Guild. So the quality from the actors. There should be a way of ensuring that people that are actors are actually trained, that are people that have the skill.
Is that it?
It's like, let me ask a question. Let me ask a question. How is it that in medicine, in pharmacy, in engineering, in law, we are very thorough about the people that are industry players, but when it comes to acting or the film industry, it's an all-commerce affair. Why is it? Why should that be the case? The same regulation that we have in these industries, the ones I mentioned before, should apply here. There should be a channel. If you want to be an actor, I mean, today, if you tell someone what does it take to be an actor, they don't know. If you ask someone, what does it take to be an engineer or a lawyer, they will tell you, go to university and others. In acting, that does not exist. We have a film school in Jos. I mean, a lot of people even that are acting currently don't even know about such an institute. So there is no structured way of becoming an actor, an experienced actor. I mean, I like what Royal Arts Academy is doing. I mean, a few other academies are doing things to get people into acting, but there is no making it a requirement for you to be in the industry does not exist.
But it's very difficult to separate actors from content creators because most content creators call themselves actors. And most film producers will go for the content creator, even the real actors.
Because these guys have following. That's all. Because, if you post the production, someone will bring someone like Baskin Mount, Brother Shaggy, sorry to mention names, into his production. The reason is not because Brother Shaggy is the best of actors, but because Brother Shaggy will imagine posting it on his Instagram that I'm in this film. Everybody will go to watch it and then we'll get ad revenue. So, but the point there is, so these are the dislocations that we have in the industry that needs to be fixed. And when you have anybody can make people laugh. So if you bring that person to be into acting, how can you grow that industry? How can you grow the industry to make it globally competitive when it is an all-commerce affair? It's not going to happen. So there should be a way of structuring it. And there is an Actors Guild. Actors Guild meaning people that are passionate about acting should actually be. I mean, you hear cases where I'm not going to mention anybody's name, but someone will show up, negotiate. Okay, this is how much I'm charging, and all those things, and then sometimes they will even walk away from the set. Sometimes the call time is 8 o'clock; they are still asleep by 10 o'clock. So you now realize, if you look at this, you realize that it's because that who do you report to? The producer is left to suffer because there's almost nobody you report to. That structure is not there. So if there could be a way of strengthening the guild so that people, there are terms of reference. You don't just bring in just anybody to be in the film. I mean, if you look at that, is actually what is killing the quality of the production. Because think about it: if you bring an experienced actor and then someone that has never even faced the camera, and the person is fidgeting, but for that reason, you have to keep the actor to do like 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 12, 15 takes, simply because this guy does not know his left from his right in acting. So, but if that guy has been trained, it will make it easier for even the professionals to really work with them. If that guy is ready to learn, if there is a structure that allows that guy to learn and not just learning in front of the camera, then you would see that the quality of our production, because the reality is the quality of the production or the quality of cast is very integral to the quality of the overall production. Okay. So I think that it's an all-encompassing. I think there should be a structure that would allow actors, professional actors, not content creators, professional actors to be the ones to really stay.
But I think if you ask somebody, which will you want to choose, acting or content creation? They'll prefer content creation.
That's because of the
resources. In fact, more actors are becoming content creators now.
Which is not supposed to be so. And that's because people are leaning more towards content creation.
Now, do you also believe that the state of mind of the audience, like the way the country is now, people are more interested in content than in movies?
That's because of the attention span. Things like TikTok, Instagram Reels has reduced the attention span of the average person. So tell them to sit for 1.5 hours or 2 hours to see a movie.
They'll just go and check the reviews.
That's it. Not just review, they will take some snippets of the production. Oh, this thing. Unless it is very compelling, that they will say, oh, let's go and watch the whole thing. Yeah. So I think that is something that we cannot blame on anybody. The attention span is, that's why all those productions that we used to have, and it's something that producers should learn. All those productions will have part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4, all the part 8, some have even part 10, part 12. Who do you expect to really sit down and see some of those productions? So, I mean, I like some producers, I'm not going to mention names once again, are doing a good job. 90 minutes, sometimes 90 minutes max. 120 minutes, you are done with your production.
Okay, because of that, let's also reduce the production of this particular film. Thank you very much for coming, and I actually enjoy your perspective about Alaba and Nollywood. You have a very deep knowledge about Nollywood and Alaba.
That's because in some ways I'm involved in the industry myself.
Thank you very much for coming. Now, that's our package for today, and please do not forget to like, subscribe, and put on a strong bell on this channel because we drop amazing content. And also, do not forget that the elite of the 21st century are not those who do not go to school or those who do not go to school, but are those who have refused to evolve as the environment is evolving. My name is Providence. See you again.